You're looking for something important. Maybe it's that old bank statement you need for your taxes, or perhaps the login details for an online account you haven't touched in years. You know it's here somewhere, in that overflowing drawer stuffed with receipts or buried under the stack of unopened mail on your kitchen table. 10 minutes pass, then 20. Before you know it, an hour is slipped away, and you're sitting there surrounded by piles of paper, feeling more frustrated and exhausted than when you started. Your back aches from bending over, your eyes strain from squinting at faded print. That's not just annoying, that's financial clutter stealing your time, your peace, and ultimately your hard-earned money. As you get older, everything becomes a bit harder. Your energy isn't what it used to be, unexpected health issues pop up, and fixed incomes mean every dollar counts. That's why you need to declutter your finances now, while you still have the clarity and stamina to do it right. Procrastinating could cost you thousands in wasted fees, missed opportunities, and unnecessary stress. Let me introduce you to Margaret, a 72-year-old retiree from Chicago. She called me in a panic one afternoon, her voice trembling over the phone. "I can't find my Social Security statements," she said. "I've been digging through boxes for hours, and now I'm worried about identity theft because of all these old papers." When I visited her cozy apartment in the Windy City, I saw the problem immediately. Her home office, really just a corner of the living room, was a sea of financial debris, stacks of credit card offers from the 2010s, expired insurance policies yellowing with age, and folders bulging with receipts for purchases she couldn't even remember. We spent the afternoon sorting, and by the end, Margaret was in tears, not from sadness, but relief. "I feel like a weight has been lifted," she told me. "I didn't realize how much this mess was dragging me down." And here's something a wise commenter once shared on one of my videos. People who declutter their finances well also manage their lives well. They don't let unnecessary expenses or worries pile up. Spot on. Clear your financial space and you'll clear your mind, paving the way for a more secure retirement. Today, I'm diving deep into this topic because it's crucial for anyone approaching or in their golden years. I'm sharing 7 money drains you must cut before 65, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if you've been attached to them for decades, because clinging to outdated financial habits is robbing you of your present and future stability. These aren't just tips, they're lifelines drawn from real stories of folks across the USA who've turned their financial chaos into calm. Hit that like button if you're ready to take control, subscribe for more practical advice tailored for mature Americans, and drop a comment below. Which of these drains will you tackle first? Let's get started. Thing number 1: expired credit cards and forgotten loyalty programs. Oh, this is a sneaky one that creeps up on so many of us. You sign up for a store credit card during a holiday sale, maybe at Macy's or Target, thinking it'll save you 20% on that one purchase. Fast forward a few years, and that card is sitting in your wallet, unused but still active, racking up annual fees or tempting you with offers you don't need. Or worse, you've got loyalty apps on your phone for airlines, hotels, and coffee shops, each with points that expire or terms that change without notice. Experts from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau warn that dormant cards can hurt your credit score if they're closed unexpectedly, and forgotten programs mean you're leaving money on the table, or worse, paying for perks you never use. Take Jim, a 68-year-old from Dallas, Texas. He had a wallet thicker than a novel, crammed with cards from his traveling days as a salesman. "I kept them just in case," he explained when I met him at his ranch-style home. One was from an airline he hadn't flown in 15 years, another from a department store that had gone bankrupt. We pulled them all out, and I showed him how to check his credit report for free at annualcreditreport.com, a government-mandated site every American should use yearly. Turns out, 2 of those cards had small annual fees he'd been auto-paying without realizing, totaling $150 a year. That's $1,500 over a decade, money that could have gone toward his grandkids' college funds or a nice dinner out with his wife. Jim was shocked.
"I thought I was being smart by keeping options open," he said, "but options turn into obligations when they're neglected." Here's how to handle this. Start by gathering all your cards and logging into any associated apps. Make a list: card name, expiration date, annual fee, and last use. If it's expired or unused for over a year, call the issuer to close it properly. Don't just cut it up, as that won't stop potential fraud. For loyalty programs, use apps like Award Wallet to track points without the clutter. Set a reminder in your calendar app every 6 months to review and purge. And a pro tip, if you're worried about impacting your credit score, close the newest cards first, as older ones show a longer credit history. Donation? Nah. Shred those cards securely. Use a crosscut shredder or services at places like Staples for a few bucks. Your security is worth it. By clearing this out, you'll slim down your wallet, reduce fraud risk, and maybe even boost your credit score for better loan rates if you need them later in life. Moving on to thing number 2, forgotten auto renewals and subscriptions. In our digital age, it's easier than ever to sign up for something with a click. Netflix, Amazon Prime, that magazine you subscribe to during a doctor's waiting room boredom spell. But forgetting to cancel, that's where the drain happens. A recent study by the AARP found that Americans over 50 waste an average of $200 a month on unused subscriptions, adding up to $2,400 a year. Multiply that by your retirement years, and you're looking at tens of thousands vanished into thin air.
Sarah, 64, from Seattle, Washington, is a perfect example. She reached out to me after a rainy afternoon spent reviewing her bank statements. "I found charges for a gym I haven't visited since before the pandemic," she laughed, though it wasn't funny. Living in the Pacific Northwest, Sarah loved her outdoor hikes, but an old Planet Fitness membership was still deducting $10 monthly. Then there was the Hulu add-on she didn't watch, a newspaper digital sub she skimmed once a month, and even a forgotten Audible account piling up credits she'd never use. We tallied it up, $85 a month, or over $1,000 yearly. Sarah's eyes widened. "That's a plane ticket to visit my sister in Florida," she said. We canceled them all using her bank's app, which often has a subscription management tool built in. To tackle this, pull up your last 3 months' bank and credit card statements. Print them if you're more comfortable with paper, or use apps like Mint or YNAB, you need a budget, for digital tracking. Highlight any recurring charges. Ask yourself, did I use this last month? Does it bring joy or value? If not, cancel immediately. Most services have easy online portals. For trickier ones, like those buried in app stores, search "How to Cancel Service" on Google for step-by-step guides. Set up email alerts for upcoming renewals, and consider using a virtual credit card from services like privacy.com to control autopays. Remember, canceling doesn't mean losing access forever. You can always resubscribe if needed. Sarah now reviews her statements quarterly, and she's redirected that saved money into a high-yield savings account at an online bank like Ally, earning her extra interest. It's empowering, turning passive leaks into active gains. Thing number 3, high-fee bank accounts and outdated financial products. Remember when you opened that checking account back in the 90s because it was convenient? Times have changed, and so have banking options. Many traditional banks still charge monthly maintenance fees, overdraft penalties, and ATM surcharges that eat away at your balance. The Federal Reserve reports that low-income seniors are hit hardest, paying up to $300 annually in unnecessary fees. Switch to no-fee online banks or credit unions, and you could save big while earning better interest. Meet Tom, a 70-year-old veteran from Atlanta, Georgia. His story hit home for me because it mirrored so many I've heard. Tom had stuck with his local bank for 40 years, loyal to the branch where he cashed his first paycheck. But when I visited his modest home in the suburbs, we reviewed his statements. $12 monthly fee waived only if he maintained a $1,500 balance. Tough on a fixed income. Plus $35 overdraft fees twice a year from minor miscalculations. "I thought all banks were like this," he admitted. We shopped around and switched him to a fee-free account at Capital One 360, which offers online banking with mobile check deposits, perfect for someone who doesn't drive much anymore. No more fees, and he started earning 0.5% interest on his savings compared to the 0.01% at his old bank.
Start by assessing your current accounts. What fees are you paying? Use sites like bankrate.com to compare options. Look for FDIC-insured banks with no minimums, free ATMs via networks like Allpoint, and user-friendly apps. If you're over 65, ask about senior-specific perks like waived fees at credit unions. Transferring might seem daunting, but most new banks handle it for you via switch kits. Update direct deposits for Social Security or pensions through the SSA website. It's straightforward. Tom now has peace of mind, knowing his money works for him, not the bank. And that extra savings? He's using it for small treats, like tickets to Braves games, keeping his spirits high. Thing number 4. Impulse buy gadgets and unused tech. We've all been there. Late-night infomercials or Amazon deals that promise to make life easier, a fancy blender for smoothies you never make, a smartwatch that sits in a drawer because the interface is too complicated, or that tablet you bought for reading but prefer physical books. These items don't just clutter your shelves, they represent sunk costs that tie up capital you could invest elsewhere. A survey by Slick Deals found Americans waste $18 billion yearly on impulse buys, with gadgets topping the list for older adults trying to keep up with technology. Linda, 67, from Phoenix, Arizona, shared her experience during a scorching summer consult. Her garage was filled with boxes of gadgets. A juicer from her health kick phase, noise-canceling headphones she found too fiddly, and a robot vacuum that terrified her cat. "I spent good money on these," she said, echoing the guilt many feel. "We calculated the total cost, over $800 gathering dust. Listing them on Facebook Marketplace, she sold most within a week for $400, half back in her pocket. The rest went to a local thrift store specializing in electronics." To declutter, inventory your gadgets. List each one, purchase price, and last use. If unused for a year, sell on eBay, Craigslist, or apps like OfferUp. Price low for quick sales. For tech, check for data wipe instructions to protect privacy. Donate working items to libraries or senior centers. They'll appreciate them for community programs. Linda invested her proceeds in a simple, reliable phone plan, reducing her monthly bill by $20. It's not about regretting purchases, but reclaiming value, turning clutter into cash for what matters now, like a comfortable recliner or a weekend getaway. Thing number 5. Outdated insurance policies and coverage gaps. Insurance is essential, but holding on to policies that no longer fit your life is like paying for a gym membership you don't use, except the stakes are higher. As you age, needs change. You might not need as much life insurance if kids are grown, or your auto policy could have add-ons for commuting you no longer do. The National Association of Insurance Commissioners notes that over-insuring costs seniors billions, while under-insuring leaves them vulnerable. Consider Robert, 63, from Boston, Massachusetts. He contacted me after a minor fender bender revealed his policy hadn't been updated since his kids left home. Paying for high liability on a car he drove rarely, plus renter's insurance for an apartment he now owned outright as a condo. "It was autopilot," he confessed in his New England accent. We reviewed his policies with an independent agent, free service, and trimmed $450 annually by adjusting coverage. He added umbrella liability for extra protection, all while saving. Review policies yearly. Gather documents, note coverages and premiums. Use tools like Policy Genius or NerdWallet for comparisons. For Medicare-eligible folks, check supplements during open enrollment, October 15th to December 7th. Cancel redundancies like duplicate roadside assistance from AAA and your auto policy. Robert now has tailored coverage, freeing funds for Red Sox tickets. Peace of mind without the price tag. We're halfway through our list, but let's pause here to reflect on how far you've come just by considering these changes. Implementing even a few can transform your financial landscape. In the next part, we'll dive into the remaining drains, including collectibles that aren't appreciating and junk mail subscriptions that flood your inbox. But for now, take a breath. Decluttering finances is a marathon, not a sprint. Remember, starting small builds momentum. We've covered 5 major money drains so far:
expired credit cards, forgotten subscriptions, high-fee bank accounts, impulse gadgets, and outdated insurance policies. If you've already taken action on even one of those, give yourself a pat on the back. You're already ahead of most people. But we're not done yet. There are 2 more big ones waiting, and then we'll talk about how to actually make all this happen without getting overwhelmed. Let's keep going. Thing number 6, collectibles and investments that aren't appreciating. This one is emotionally tough for a lot of folks, especially if you've been holding on to something for decades believing it would be worth something someday. We're talking about things like Beanie Babies from the 90s craze, commemorative plates, limited edition coins, sports cards, Hummel figurines, Thomas Kincaid prints, or even that stack of vintage Playboy magazines in the attic. At one point, many of these were marketed as smart investments. The truth, most of them peaked years ago and have been losing value ever since, or were never valuable to begin with. Let me tell you about Harold, a 71-year-old retired mechanic from Orlando, Florida. When I first walked into his garage, I thought I'd stepped into a small museum. Shelves lined the walls, packed with hundreds of die-cast model cars, NASCAR memorabilia, Franklin Mint collector plates, and boxes of unopened baseball cards from the late 80s and early 90s junk wax era. Harold beamed with pride as he showed me his collection. He'd spent tens of thousands of dollars over the years, always telling his wife, "These will help pay for our retirement." But when we sat down and actually looked up current values on eBay completed sales and specialty sites like Beckett and PSA, the numbers were sobering. A $200 collector plate from 1998 was selling for $8. A complete set of cards he paid $500 for in 1991 was lucky to fetch $30. The total realistic resale value of his entire collection? Less than $2,000. Harold sat quietly for a long time. "I feel like a fool," he finally said. But he wasn't a fool. He just believed the marketing hype that so many of us fell for. We spent 2 weekends carefully photographing and listing the best pieces online. A few rare items sold for decent money, but most went for pennies on the dollar. The rest we donated to a local children's hospital and a veterans group that uses collectibles for fundraising raffles. Harold ended up with about $1,400 in his pocket and a garage he could actually park his car in again. More importantly, he freed up mental space. "I was always worried about dust, breakage, or someone stealing my investment," he told me later. "Now I don't have that hanging over me." He took the cash and put it toward a cruise with his wife, something that created real memories instead of gathering dust. Here's how to approach this category. Start by picking one type of collectible. Don't try to tackle everything at once. Pull it all out and research current market value using completed sales, not asking prices. Sites like eBay filter for sold items, WorthPoint, or specialized forums are your friends. Be honest with yourself. Is this truly rare and in demand, or is it mass-produced nostalgia? If the value is low, consider selling in lots to make it easier. People love grab bags of similar items. Local auction houses or estate sale companies can handle larger collections for a commission. And remember, donating can give you a tax deduction if you itemize. Get a receipt and photos for documentation. Harold's biggest takeaway? An investment that doesn't grow isn't an investment. It's just stuff. Let go of the sunk cost fallacy. Your retirement account will thank you more than a shelf of figurines ever will. Thing number 7. Junk mail, paper statements, and endless catalogs. This might sound small compared to the others, but it's a silent time and money thief that adds up fast. Every day, your mailbox fills with pre-approved credit offers, insurance quotes, charity requests, and catalogs from companies you bought from once 10 years ago. Inside your home, drawers overflow with years of bank statements, utility bills, and investment reports because I might need them someday. The average American household receives over 800 pieces of junk mail per year, and seniors are targeted heavily. Not only does this create physical clutter, but it increases risk of identity theft. Those pre-approved offers are gold for dumpster divers. Plus, the time you spend sorting, shredding, or filing it all is time you could spend with grandkids or on hobbies. Evelyn, 69, from Denver, Colorado, reached out after a scary incident. She'd tossed a pile of old statements into her recycling bin without shredding them first. A week later, she got an alert about a new credit card opened in her name. Thankfully, she caught it early and resolved it, but the stress was immense. When I visited her sunny bungalow, we found shoeboxes full of paper going back to the early 2000s. I was afraid to throw anything away, she admitted. We spent a day switching everything we could to paperless: bank statements, Social Security, Medicare, utilities, investments. Most companies make this easy online or with a quick phone call. For the remaining paper that still comes, we set up informed delivery with USPS so she can preview mail digitally and spot anything important. To stop junk mail, register with dmachoice.org for $5. It reduces catalog and offer mail for 10 years. Opt out of pre-screened credit offers permanently at optoutprescreen.com or by calling 1-888-5-OPT-OUT. For charities, politely ask to be removed from lists or use services like catalogchoice.org. And for the backlog, keep tax-related documents for 7 years, IRS guideline, but most everything else can go sooner. Invest in a good cross-cut shredder or use community shred events. Many banks and cities host them free in spring and fall. Evelyn now has a simple system. Incoming mail goes into a small basket. Once a week, she spends 15 minutes sorting: shred, recycle, or file. Her dining table is clear, her stress is lower, and she's protected from identity theft risks. Small changes, big peace of mind. Now that we've covered all 7 money drains: expired cards, subscriptions, high-fee accounts, gadgets, insurance, collectibles, and paper clutter, let's talk about the real challenge: actually doing it. Knowing what to cut is one thing, taking action is another. I've seen too many people watch videos like this, nod along, and then do nothing because it feels overwhelming. So here's your gentle, realistic action plan designed specifically for busy, tired, or hesitant folks in their 60s and beyond.
First principle: start tiny. Don't try to overhaul your entire financial life in a weekend. You'll burn out and quit. Instead, pick just one category from the 7 we discussed. Only one. This week, maybe it's gathering all your credit cards and making that list, or pulling 3 months of bank statements to spot subscriptions. Set a timer for 30 minutes, no more. Put on some favorite music, brew a cup of coffee or tea, and work for just those 30 minutes. When the timer dings, stop. Even if you're in the middle of something and want to keep going, stop. Why? Because success builds on small wins. Finishing a short session leaves you feeling accomplished, not exhausted. You'll be eager to do another one tomorrow or next week. Margaret from Chicago tried the all-day marathon approach first. She cleared her whole kitchen table, spread out decades of papers, and went at it from morning till night. By 4 p.m., she was in tears, her back hurt, and she shoved everything back into boxes, vowing never to try again. 6 months later, we restarted with the 30-minute rule. In just 2 weeks of daily short sessions, her financial clutter was gone, and she felt in control for the first time in years. Second principle: make decisions simple and binary. For each item or account, ask only 2 questions. Do I use or need this now? And does keeping this improve my life today? If the answer to both is no, it goes. Don't get stuck in maybe someday thinking. As I told Jim in Dallas, someday almost never comes, and if it does, there's almost always a better, modern solution available. Use 3 piles or boxes: keep, cancel/close/sell, and shred/trash. That's it. No 4th maybe pile allowed. It's a trap. Third principle: remove items from your home immediately. Once your 30-minute session ends, take the cancel or trash items out of the house that day. Put donation boxes in your car trunk. Take shred bags to the bin. Cancel subscriptions online right then. Why? Because if they linger in your garage or a corner, you'll start second-guessing yourself. Out of sight, out of mind, and out of your life. Fourth principle: don't ask for permission or opinions from others unless you truly want them. Adult children especially can trigger guilt. I've seen it dozens of times. A parent finally decides to sell an old collectible or cancel a long-held account, only to have a son or daughter say, "But Dad, I loved those model cars when I was a kid," or "Mom, what if you need that insurance later?" Suddenly, progress stops.
Your money and your home are yours to manage. You don't need consensus to make decisions that improve your daily life and security. If someone questions it later, a calm, "I appreciated it for many years, but it no longer served me, so I let it go," is enough. Reasonable people understand. Finally, reward yourself every step of the way. After each session, do something pleasant. Watch an episode of your favorite show. Call a friend. Enjoy a favorite snack, or simply sit quietly with a sense of pride. Positive reinforcement turns a chore into a habit. Harold in Orlando started treating himself to a scoop of ice cream after each garage session. By the end, he joked that decluttering funded both his cruise and a few extra pounds. When you clear these 7 financial drains, something magical happens. Your bank balance stops mysteriously shrinking. Your mailbox stops overwhelming you. Your home feels lighter because the physical reminders of waste are gone. But most importantly, your mind feels clearer. Every unused subscription, every dusty collectible, every stack of old statements is a tiny mental burden, something your brain has to notice, remember, and worry about. Remove those burdens, and you create space for what truly matters: family visits, hobbies, travel, volunteering, or simply relaxing without financial stress hanging over you. Evelyn said it best after we finished her paper purge. She stood in her newly organized office nook, looked around, and smiled. "I thought I'd feel empty getting rid of all that," she said, "but I feel full of possibility." That's the gift of financial decluttering. It doesn't just save you money, it gives you back your time, your energy, and your peace in retirement, the years you've worked so hard to reach. So here's your challenge starting today, December 31st, 2025. Perfect timing for a fresh start in the new year. Pick one category, set that 30-minute timer, make it pleasant, sort into keep, cancel/sell, trash/shred. Move the out items out of your house today. Then celebrate. Tomorrow or next week, pick another category and repeat. Tell me in the comments, which of the 7 money drains are you tackling first? Expired cards, subscriptions, collectibles? I read every comment, and your choice might inspire someone else watching their retirement savings slip away unnecessarily. If this has helped you see your finances in a new light, please hit like, subscribe, and share with a friend or family member who needs this message. You deserve a retirement that feels secure and simple, not stressful and cluttered. Let's make 2026 the year you stop the leaks and start enjoying the abundance you've earned. Thank you for spending this time with me. You've already taken the most important step just by listening and thinking about change. Now take the next small one. You've got this.